أيها السادة المشاهدون، نحييكم من قناة الميادين، ويسرنا أن نرحب بالكاتب الكبير والمفكر الأمريكي الشهير نورمان فينكلستين. فينكلستين يحكى عنه في الولايات المتحدة على أنه رجل مثير للجدل، وأي شيء لا يقبله الشارع الأمريكي الرئيسي أو الحياة الفكرية الرئيسية في الولايات المتحدة يعتبر مثيرا للجدل، لكنه في الحقيقة فينكلستين هو أقرب إلى الشعوب منه إلى الإدارة الأمريكية أو إلى الفكر السياسي الأمريكي السائد. You are welcome, Mr. Finkelstein, with Al Mayadeen here. Mr. Finkelstein, in the last few weeks, we've witnessed two major events taking place in the region and here in New York. One of them was what happened in Gaza, the war on Gaza by the Israelis, and then what happened at the United Nations. How do you view these events happening so close, and what impact do you think they will have on the Palestinian question?
Well, there was obviously an interrelationship between the two events. What happened in the United Nations yesterday was the outcome and consequence of what happened in Gaza about 2 weeks ago. The two events mark, I think, a staggering military defeat for Israel in Gaza, and then in part, consequently, a staggering political defeat for Israel in the United Nations. So both on the military and the political front, these were major defeats. It used to be said about Israel, or some people said about Israel, that they were able to win in the military field, but they were never able to get the political advantages that derived from their military victory. But now things have changed significantly because they're suffering major setbacks militarily. And as a result of that, they're suffering even greater setbacks, failures politically. It is a changing moment.
Well, here you can say it's a setback militarily. Do you think that they miscalculated by killing Mr. Jabari, the commander of Hamas? Why did they invite such a war? How do you compare that with what happened in 2008, for example?
You have to bear in mind that soon after the Israeli massacre in Gaza in 2008-9, really within weeks, they started talking about an Operation Cast Lead 2. And the Operation Cast Lead 2 actually, for a long time, never happened. And I had said at the time that I don't believe they can do an Operation Cast Lead 2 because of the new developments in the Arab Muslim world. Basically the ascension to power of Erdogan in Turkey, and then the ascension to power of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, that's going to put significant constraints on what Israel could do. Now, when the last Israeli attack occurred beginning on November 14th, initially I thought it was just unplanned and spontaneous. But now on reflection, I reconsidered that, and I don't think it was unplanned and spontaneous. In fact, it was Operation Cast Lead 2, but in a new political environment. And so the Israelis were effectively testing the limits of what they could do in the new political environment. And so I don't think it was spontaneous, because when you think about it, in 2008, Israel launched Operation Cast Lead when they went into Gaza on November 4th, killed 6 Palestinian militants, and they knew immediately that that's going to evoke a massive Hamas barrage of projectiles, and that would give them their pretext to attack. This time around, there's no question that Israel knew by killing Ahmed Jabari that again it was going to evoke a massive Hamas reaction, which tells me it was another pretext, just as the one on November 4th, 2008. As it happens, it came within 10 days. The last one was November 4th. This one was November 14th.
But here, sorry to interrupt you, what we heard in the Middle East, or some commentators in the Middle East said that the exercise, American, Israeli exercises were on the ground, going on, they were testing the Iron Dome, and maybe they wanted to test it live, as some put it.
You know, there's never a single cause for an attack. There are always several causes, and just for reasons of simplicity, you want to get to the main cause. Yeah, I think they wanted to test Iron Dome, but I don't think that was the main impetus behind the attack. The main impetus behind the attack was that Hamas was accruing a large number of gains on the political front. It was gaining a lot of legitimacy. Now, for most people looking at it from the outside, what's the big deal? But for the Israelis, it is a very big deal because they have defined Hamas as a terrorist entity, a terrorist organization. And when they see this organization, which they've defined as a terrorist organization, becoming legitimate, becoming respectable, all of these Arab Muslim leaders are journeying to it. First comes the Qatari Emir. He says, I'm going to give you $400 million. Then there's announcement that Prime Minister Erdogan of Turkey is going to be making a journey to Gaza. The Israelis are getting infuriated. It's like the Arab Muslim world is thumbing its nose at them.